The world is holding its breath. As of today, June 20th, 2025, a question that once felt like a distant fear is now a daily headline. Are we on the brink of a third world war? Tensions that have simmered for decades have boiled over into open conflict, creating a dangerous situation that could pull in other major world powers. The most immediate crisis is the direct war that has erupted between Israel and Iran. This is not a proxy conflict fought through other groups. It is a direct confrontation between two of the most powerful militaries in the Middle East. The situation is incredibly volatile, and every action is being watched closely by governments from Washington to Moscow and Beijing, as the potential for escalation is frighteningly high. The fighting began just 1 week ago, on Friday, June 13, 2025. Israel launched a series of major preemptive airstrikes against Iran, a move it said was necessary to stop Iran's nuclear weapons program. These attacks were highly targeted, hitting critical nuclear facilities like the Arak heavy water reactor and sites in Natanz. But the strikes went further, also targeting military command centers and government buildings in Iran's capital city, Tehran. This was a significant escalation, moving beyond the shadow war the two nations have waged for years. The Israeli government framed this as a defensive necessity, but to Iran it was nothing short of a declaration of war, a direct assault on its sovereignty and security. In response, Iran did not hesitate. It unleashed a barrage of missiles aimed at Israel, demonstrating its own formidable military capabilities. The strikes caused significant damage and fear across Israeli cities. In one of the most shocking moments of the conflict so far, an Iranian missile struck the Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba, marking the first time a hospital had been hit. Another attack reportedly used a sophisticated missile carrying multiple warheads, a clear signal of Iran's advanced weaponry. This immediate and forceful retaliation showed that Iran is prepared to match Israel's aggression, creating a dangerous cycle of attack and counterattack that threatens to spiral out of control and engulf the entire region. The international community has reacted with alarm. The United States, Israel's closest ally, has found itself in a difficult position. President Trump has stated that the U.S. did not participate in the initial Israeli strikes, but has also said, it's possible we could get involved. This leaves the door open for American military intervention, a possibility that greatly worries other global powers. Meanwhile, Russia and China, who have been strengthening their ties with Iran, have condemned Israel's attack. Their reactions, while so far diplomatic, add another layer of complexity to the crisis, as the conflict begins to draw lines between global superpowers with competing interests in the volatile Middle East. Behind the strategic military calculations and political statements lies a devastating human tragedy. The conflict is taking a severe toll on civilians in both Israel and Iran. As of just a few days ago, reports from Iran indicated that at least 224 people, many of them civilians, have been killed in the Israeli strikes, with nearly 2,000 more injured. These numbers are expected to climb as rescue workers continue to search through the rubble. In cities like Tehran, daily life has been completely upended. Hospitals are overwhelmed with casualties, and mass evacuations are underway as people flee the targeted areas in search of safety. The sense of fear and uncertainty is palpable on the streets. On the other side, Israeli citizens are also living under the constant threat of attack. Iranian missile strikes have killed at least 24 people in Israel and have damaged residential buildings in cities like Ramat Gan and Holon. Air raid sirens have become a common sound, forcing families to rush into bomb shelters at a moment's notice. While the Israeli government reports that national morale remains high, the psychological impact of the continuous threat is immense. Both nations have even resorted to issuing specific evacuation orders. Israel warned residents of a town in northern Iran to leave their homes, while Iran broadcasted a similar warning to an Israeli news station, a tactic that blurs the lines between military and civilian targets. Looming over this conventional warfare is the terrifying specter of nuclear weapons. This is the central reason the conflict is so dangerous. According to a White House confirmation on June 19, Iran now possesses all the necessary components to assemble a nuclear weapon within a couple of weeks. This development has transformed the strategic landscape, making the stakes of the conflict existential for both sides. Israel, which has long been rumored to have its own undeclared nuclear arsenal, is reportedly pressuring the United States to use powerful bunker-buster bombs to destroy Iran's heavily fortified underground nuclear facility at Fordo, a move that would be a massive escalation. The nuclear threat is not limited to just Israel and Iran. The discussion has widened, raising fears of a domino effect of nuclear proliferation. An Iranian general made a chilling claim that Pakistan would launch a nuclear strike on Israel if Israel were to use its own nuclear weapons, a scenario that could potentially draw nuclear-armed India into the fray. Furthermore, the conflict is causing U.S. allies in Asia, such as South Korea, Japan, and Taiwan, to question the reliability of America's security guarantees. There is growing concern that these nations might decide they need to develop their own nuclear weapons for self-defense, a trend that would make the world a far more dangerous place. The war between Israel and Iran is not happening in a vacuum. It is unfolding on a global stage already strained by several other major conflicts and rising tensions, which is why fears of a world war are so pronounced. The brutal war in Ukraine continues to grind on, with no end in sight. Ukraine recently conducted a successful drone attack on Russian warplanes, showing the conflict remains highly active. A prominent Russian general has even claimed that World War III has already begun, calling for mass mobilization. This mindset in Moscow is deeply concerning, especially as Russia continues to receive support from a growing list of allies who share its opposition to the West. Another major flashpoint is the escalating tension between China and Taiwan. Many military analysts believe China is preparing for a potential invasion of the island, possibly as soon as 2027. Beijing has been conducting aggressive live-fire military drills near Taiwan and has unveiled new technology, such as deep-sea cable cutters, that could be used to isolate the island in a conflict. In response, the United States has been increasing its military support for Taiwan, creating a tense standoff between two nuclear-armed powers. A conflict over Taiwan would have catastrophic consequences for the global economy and could easily draw the US and its allies into a direct war with China. Meanwhile, the Korean peninsula remains a powder keg. In early 2024, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un officially abandoned the long-held goal of peaceful reunification with South Korea, adopting a more aggressive posture. Pyongyang has been rapidly modernizing its military arsenal, recently testing a new warship capable of launching nuclear-capable cruise missiles. These actions, combined with North Korea's increasingly close relationship with Russia, add another layer of instability to the East Asian security landscape. Any miscalculation on the peninsula could quickly spiral into a devastating regional war with global implications. These separate conflicts are becoming increasingly interconnected through a web of new and strengthening alliances. An anti-Western bloc is solidifying, with Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran providing each other with mutual military, economic, and diplomatic support. They are united by a shared goal of challenging the US-led global order. In response, Western alliances like NATO are also on high alert. Just this month, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte warned that Russia could be ready to attack a NATO country within 5 years, urging member states to significantly increase their defense spending and military readiness. This division of the world into two heavily armed opposing camps is eerily reminiscent of the lead-up to past world wars. In this modern era of conflict, wars are not only fought with missiles and bombs but also with keyboards and code. The Israel-Iran war has been accompanied by intense cyber attacks, opening a new front in their struggle. A hacking group calling itself Predatory Sparrow claimed responsibility for a major cyber attack on Iran's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Nobitex. The group stated it stole and burned at least $90 million from the exchange, which is reportedly linked to figures in the sanctioned Iranian regime. This economic warfare aims to disrupt and inflict financial pain without firing a single shot, showcasing how vulnerable critical infrastructure can be in the digital age. Iran has faced a barrage of cyber aggression that has had a tangible impact on its society. In the midst of the kinetic military strikes, the country experienced a near-total internet blackout that lasted for over 12 hours. Such a widespread disruption cripples communication, commerce, and the flow of information for ordinary citizens, creating chaos and isolating the country from the outside world. This digital battlefield is a key component of modern hybrid warfare, where destabilizing an adversary's society through cyber means is just as important as damaging their military. These attacks demonstrate a new and unsettling dimension of international conflict. Amid the escalating violence, there is a small window for diplomacy, but the path is fraught with obstacles. The U.S. is attempting to navigate the crisis without being pulled directly into the war. President Trump has set a 2-week deadline for diplomacy, calling it a chance for Iran to come to their senses. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is in communication with Iran's foreign minister, though no direct face-to-face meetings are planned yet. Iran's supreme leader has issued stern warnings to the U.S. to stay out of the conflict, but some Iranian diplomats have quietly signaled an openness to discuss a ceasefire. The United Nations Security Council is also set to hold an emergency meeting, but hopes for a breakthrough remain slim. The world now stands at a perilous crossroads. The direct war between Israel and Iran, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, and the simmering tensions over Taiwan have created the most dangerous geopolitical environment in decades. New alliances are hardening, the threat of nuclear proliferation is growing, and battle lines, both physical and digital, are being drawn. Countries around the world, including the US, Japan, and China, have begun evacuating their citizens from the Middle East, a clear sign that they fear the situation will deteriorate further. It is a critical moment in history, and it is more important than ever for citizens everywhere to pay close attention to global events, as the risk of a wider war is real and growing every day.